Which types of small business loans are right for you? There's a lot to choose from, and it might be difficult to figure out which ones you can qualify for and which ones will actually get you the money that you need when you need it. So during today's training, I want to talk about just that. We're going to talk about the types of loans that are available. We're going to talk about which loans work for you kind of through the life of your business. We're talking about loans that you need now or in the beginning part of a business as you're getting it off the ground, getting it started. We're talking about loans that you grow into like SBA loans and the options there and how to get into those loans quickly. We're going to talk about loan options that most business owners know nothing about. We're going to talk about loan options you can qualify for if you have credit issues, if you don't have collateral, if you're just starting your business, or you have a really well-established business, good credit, and you want to get 20, 30-year terms with really low interest rates. We've got a lot to cover today, but by the end of this training, you're going to know a lot of different ways you can get money for your business. And most importantly, you're going to know how to choose which type of loan actually works best for you. So let's dive in. So look, it's obvious that businesses need funding. Okay, it's that simple, right? But you'd be hard pressed to find a business owner that doesn't know that. But at the same time, what many don't know is where to go to get the money. What types of business loans you can qualify for, what types of lenders you should be applying for. And this I found to be very confusing in the marketplace. When you go online and I look at lenders that I know very well what they do, you can't tell by their website if you need good credit to qualify or if you need cash flow to qualify or if you need some kind of asset or collateral. It would be nice if they just said, hey, if you fit this bill, you can get this kind of loan, but it's not that way. So the question becomes, what kind of funding programs can actually work for you right now? What can you actually get approved for? Well, knowing the different types of small business loan is really half the battle. You have to also figure out which one is right for you, which one actually works for you, not just now, but through the life of your business, because the answer is going to vary based on a lot of different factors. And it's going to change as your business actually grows. The funding you can get now, the funding that works for you now is going to be different a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Your needs are going to change. Your qualifications are going to change as well. And Shane, thanks for coming in, saying hi from Facebook. I appreciate everybody coming in today. So how do you know what's right for you? Well, you've got to figure out the types of loans that are available. And then you've got to figure out of those, really which is the best type that actually works for you. So the best way to start figuring out which loan is right for you is really to figure out what's available. We got to talk about what's out there, what you can actually may qualify for, so you know what works best for you. Now, there's a lot of different types of small business loans. SBA loans, you've heard about those. 401k financing, most business owners know nothing about this, even though it's what the majority of partners that start businesses use to do so. Merchant cash advances, the fastest, easiest way to get money for a business. There's equipment financing. A lot of business owners don't know even starting a business, you can get financing for equipment, or you could lease equipment with really low payments, or you could borrow against equipment you or somebody else owned to get financing. Use a credit line hybrid, perfect for startups, $150,000 and no doc credit lines you can get without cash flow verification and high-risk industries, et cetera. We'll talk about some of that today. Traditional lines of credit, as well as many others. So there's a lot of different funding products out there that may work for you. And today, I think one of the best things to do is just actually go down through a lot of these different options so you know how they work, when you may qualify, what you need to do to grow into programs like SBA loans that you might not qualify for now, and other programs that you may qualify for way sooner without qualifying for SBA. So, for example, SBA loans are guaranteed by the federal government, and they're issued by participating lenders. There's thousands of them, especially after COVID, where we had PPP loans. A lot more sources, even fintech lenders like Cabbage came into the space. On Deck came into the space and started getting the ability to offer SBA loans. They offer a lot of perks, okay, such as lower interest rates and favorable terms. Look, when it comes to SBA loans, here's why you want one in the future, if not now. The term is really long, meaning they're 20 or 30-year loan terms. So your payments are over a very long period of time. Now, let's compare this to the most common kind of money that you can get now. It's called cash flow financing. Cash flow financing, you're typically going to get financing for 6 months to 3 years, 5 years on the high end. Like really good qualified borrower might get 3 or 5 years, but most people are 6 months to like 18 months. This is 20, 30 years. So it's a substantial amount of money you're able to get the very low payments. So let me give you an example in real money. We got cash flow financing. We got $75,000, 75 grand, and our payment was $9,000 a month because it was like a 2-year term or a 3-year term. So 75,000, payment of 9 grand. We got an SBA loan for 325,000, and our payment was less than 5 grand. So 325,000, and our payment was half as much or excuse me, our payment was half as much as when we were borrowing $75,000 on a short term. So the longer term you can get, the more affordable your payments are going to be. And that's what's nice about SBA loans. It's not just the interest rates loan, is that the term is so long, so far out compared to most loans that you can keep your payments very, very, very low. So eligibility. Well, lenders and loan programs have their own unique eligibility. And what I mean by that is that these loans are guaranteed by SBA. SBA doesn't give you the money. Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, all these lenders, credit unions that actually are certified by SBA to be able to offer the loans, and SBA guarantees the loan. So the qualifications are a little different. You have to qualify for every lender per their own requirements. Then you have to qualify for SBA as well. But in general, eligibility is based on what a business does to receive its income, what kind of industry you're in, what kind of income you have, what kind of revenues you have, what kind of profits you have, the character of its ownership, meaning have you had any problems? Do you have any legal problems in the past? Does your resume show that you have the experience to run the business? And where the business operates? Are you in the United States? Are you eligible per SBA's requirements to be able to get approved? Even those with bad credit may qualify for startup funding with SBA. SBA has three main kinds of programs. We'll talk about this in a couple minutes, but one of which is called micro loans. A lot of people think you have to have really good credit to get SBA loans. They've got micro loans that are available up to 50 grand where you don't even have to have good credit. You can get it even as a newer business. Now, normally businesses must meet size standards, be able to repay, have a sound business purpose, and the lender will provide you with the full list of eligibility requirements. But to me, SBA's basic on paper eligibility requirements is pretty basic. It's pretty simple. You can't be too big of a business. And if you were, you probably wouldn't be here watching this on how to get funding. Okay. You've got to show an ability to repay the debt. Okay. So you got to be managing your cash flow, your bank statements, et cetera, accordingly. You've got to be able to show that you're responsible there. And you have to have a sound business purpose. You have to have a solid business generating consistent revenues. The revenues are increasing. You actually have legitimate products and services. And if you meet those basic requirements, then you really meet a lot of what SBA really requires. So we'll take a deeper dive into what the other things they really want to see, but some things to keep in mind. And I appreciate Tawanda. Thanks again. Tawanda, I love Tawanda because Tawanda comes in and shares people in this stream to get them to come and watch. So that way they can benefit from this knowledge as well. So please do the same thing. Love this if you're getting value, and share as well. Robert, hello. Thanks for coming in. Tawanda, hey, thanks. Thank you for always sharing. I really appreciate that. Travis says, thanks, Ty, you're a legend. Started small business a month ago and been following you since, working on net 30 accounts currently. Great. Congratulations. So Travis is a perfect example of somebody just started a business and is already in and starting the process of getting money based on this training. Okay. Aaron from YouTube. I have a DUNS number and EIN and my business has been established since 2017. Have a web page to GoDaddy. How should I proceed? You want to continue to build fundability. So you got to get your address set up, your phone number set up, make sure all of your records are matching. You may have to make sure you have any business licenses that you need. Set up your bank account, your entity, your EIN as well. I think you have those set up. Once you do that, then you can start moving on to start getting starter vendor accounts from places like Granger and Uline, Strategic Network Solutions, as well as Crown Office Supplies and many others. Hopefully that gets you on the right course. And don't forget to join our group, Get a Business Credit. A lot of help in that group that can help you along the way as you go through that process. So general eligibility requirements, you got to be a for-profit business with SBA. For these loans, you've got to be registered as a for-profit business. You got to be doing business in the U.S. That's why I say location matters. You have to have vested equity, meaning the owner that has 20% or more equity in the owner in the business has to be assigned. And they say you've exhausted other funding options, but never really found that. The reality is there's a lot of funding you can get that's easier than an SBA loan. I've never understood that SBA requirement because the reality is almost anybody can get funding easier than they can actually get an SBA loan. SBA loan is not usually a last purpose way to get money. It's the best purpose way where you've really established your business. But on paper, that is one of the requirements. So what does it really take to get approved? Ideally, you need to have good personal credit, 680 FICO score higher. Okay, there are a number of SBA loan programs that are different situations and different qualifications. Some of the most common ones include 7A loans, 504 loans, micro loans, disaster loans, express loans. Okay, so when we look at this, first of all, there's three things you really need to qualify for SBA. And don't worry, if you don't have these, I'm going to show you funding is way easier to qualify for than SBA. You need to have good credit. You need to have some kind of collateral equivalent to the value of the loan you're borrowing, personal assets or business assets. And the other thing is you need to verify cash flow. They're going to ask you for 2 to 3 years worth of tax returns. They're going to want to see your revenues are consistent, preferably even that your revenues are growing. Now, the most common types of loans really are these 4 loans, 7A loans. There's 9 different types of 7A loans. And the 9 types of 7A loans include express loans. So express loans are kind of under that 7A category. Then we look at 504 loans. Those are really for fixed assets, the purchasing of equipment and machinery and utilities and paving, parking lots and even real estate. Okay, disaster loans as well. Obviously, very common right now. PPP, EIDL loans. These have been most of what's coming out of SBA. So those are the most common loans that are available from SBA. You can learn more from SBA.gov. Which is best? Well, the thing about SBA is that each of these loans has a specific purpose, and there's three main kinds: 7A, 504, and micro loans. So 7A is a versatile program. It's for working capital. It means you can use it for like any general purpose. You can use it for marketing. You can use it for expansion. You could use it to buy another business. Very commonly used for that. Okay. So standard 7A loan up to $5 million. SBA will guarantee up to 85% of that loan in case of default. So it's easier for the bank to actually give you money. Interest rate varies, turnaround times 5 to 10 days, and funds can be used for a number of different things as we talked about. Okay. But again, when we look at 7A loans, there's 9 different kinds. There's one that's actually dedicated just for international trade. There's 2 that are dedicated for importing and exporting businesses. You've got your standard 7A loan right here. You've also got what's called a small SBA loan, which has a $350,000 ceiling. Now, here's what I want to tell you. That's one of the easiest to qualify for. So if you're going to go with a 7A loan and you don't need millions, go with the cap of $350,000, because if you're under $350,000, you can get their small loan really easier to qualify for than what you're going to be dealing with a standard 7A. There's also a veterans loan for veterans where you get some of the fees waived or reduced. And then there's also an express loan where you can be able to get the loan pretty quick. In 72 hours, you can get approval. And then there's also what they call cap lines. And cap lines are their credit lines. You can get a working capital credit line. You can get a credit line if you're in a seasonal business. You can get it if you're a contractor. You can get it if you're a builder. So there's these different cap lines or credit lines for different purposes. Okay, so the other thing about SBA is that the other 2 types that we haven't talked about here is 504. SBA 504 is for the purchase of fixed assets. Okay, so fixed assets can be a lot of different things. It can be commercial real estate. You could refinance or purchase commercial real estate, and it's also most commonly second purpose used for machinery and equipment. And then there is another purpose. SBA will say, hey, it could be used for utilities. It could be used for parking lots and things like that as well. But commonly, I see it used for real estate, machinery, and equipment. Then the third kind is a micro loan. Micro loan is just what it sounds like. $50,000 is the ceiling of the loan. It's offered not from banks because they don't make enough money on this. It's offered through SBA intermediaries. I can never say intermediaries correctly on these streams for some reason. And again, it's way easier to qualify for. Credit doesn't have to be as good. You can get it as a startup business. So that's kind of the rundown of what SBA's programs will actually do. So as you see, you got to give it some time, because sometimes it could take you weeks or months, depending on how fast you are, to be able to get everything done that you need to get done. And the approval and funding process could take a while, especially if there's red tape, especially right now. If you're trying to get a standard SBA loan right now when they're still doing PPP loans and EIDL loans, it's hard because those are taking priority, obviously. But outside of that, the biggest thing is to make sure that you respond quickly when they need the documents. And now you have an idea of what loan can actually work for you, whether it be a 7A, all the 9 categories of 7A I went through, and also 504 microloans. It kind of depends on what the actual purpose of your money is. Okay. And George says, hey, George here from Missouri. Thanks, George, for tuning in. I really appreciate all the information you've been giving on all the videos. Thanks, George. I appreciate that. Okay, he's coming in from YouTube. And Macho says, hey, Ty, I have a question about the credit line hybrid program. Asked your team. Didn't hear back. The question is, how many inquiries will that program put on my personal credit reports? That's up to you. Because what happens is, first of all, there's a soft pull. We'll talk about credit line hybrid here in a minute. There's a soft pull. So for them to tell you how much you can qualify for, there's no inquiries on the credit report. From that point on, they usually get you 5 to 8 different credit lines. That's 5 to 8 different inquiries, but you can reduce that. You could say, hey, I only want 2 credit lines. I only want 3 or 4 credit lines. But typically, you're going to get an inquiry for every credit line that they end up securing for you. And most of the time, it's 5 to 8. But again, you can get less. That's your choice. But again, I get the pre-approval, because the pre-approval is no inquiries. Then you know how much you can get, and then you can walk it down if you want less inquiries and therefore want less money as well. You rock, Ty Angela. Thank you very much. And Shanika, thank you very much for sharing this. I appreciate it. Tawanda, what funding options are available for new businesses 9 months in? We're going to talk about that today. LB Credit Line Hybrid is one of the best ones for you. And Mark is coming in from California, LA. I appreciate it. King, good morning from California as well. And King also says, got a Quill Net 30 approval this morning, and HD Supply denied me. But congratulations on your actual approval. And remember, HD Supply, and some of the others that you might not have enough accounts reporting to be able to get approved. And the other thing is you might have some fundability things off. So go back and address your fundability. Make sure that you apply for some other vendors. Once those appear on your business credit report, you can go back to HD Supply. If you're getting value from this, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the love button, hit the share button. All right, so let's get in. So we talked a little bit about SBA loans. Let's talk about some other options, including 401k financing. So 401k financing, if you have a 401k or an IRA worth $35,000 or more, this might be a good option for you. But here's the thing. Even if you don't, even if a family member, a friend, somebody else around you does, that could open up a funding option for you as well. You could basically get there's no tax penalties. You can get interest rates as low as 5%, get a loan, get a credit line. And again, you can borrow as much as 100% of the value of a 401k. Now, before you write this off because you don't have a 401k, keep in mind that other people around you may. And this is the number one kind of funding used for partners that come in to open a business. So let's talk about this. Let's say you want to start a business, you don't have the money. Somebody else comes in and says, I want to get a rate of return on my investments that's better than I'm earning in the stock market. Well, then you could tap into their 401k, get part of the money you need to get the business off the ground. They get percentage of ownership interest in your business, a small percent, and then it gets you what you need to actually move forward. Now, before you say, I don't want to give up any ownership interest in my business, think about it, guys. This is how Amazon got to where they are. It's how everybody, all the biggest companies have got to where they are. A lot of them raise money by giving up initially some of the ownership interest or some of the stock of the business to be able to raise the money they need. It's called equity financing. So a great way for you to go, whether it's your 401k, IRA, or somebody else's. Okay, and along this line, you also look at securities financing. You can also borrow as much as 90% of the value against stocks and bonds. Okay, and you still earn interest on the stocks and bonds. And here's why I love that. And I use this example all the time because it's really real in my world. If I went to my dad and needed money today, my dad would help me with money because he knows I borrowed money before and in my lifetime from my parents, and I paid them back every single dime, and they won't accept interest from me, although my dad's the one that taught me to charge everybody interest when I loan money. But that being the case, if I go to my dad today and I say, Dad, I need money to get a new business off the ground, let's say, and I say I need $10,000. My dad's not going to go to his bank account, pull out 10 grand. He's going to go sell stocks, liquidate stocks, and give me my 10 grand. And then it's hit or miss. Maybe that hurt him because he could have earned all this interest if he kept that money in the stock market. With this program with stocks and bonds, he could leave his money vested in the stock market, still earn interest on it. And then I'm leveraging it as a credit line to actually grow my business. It seems kind of like double dipping to me because I have money in the stock market that's earning me money. Then I leverage that through a credit line to then get a business off the ground or fund a business. And it's leveraging money here in the business, and it's leveraging money in the stock market. It's a brilliant way to do it. And it's way easier to get money from family and friends through using that kind of leverage through stocks than getting cash from them. And 75% of business owners get money from family and friends. So let's talk about merchant cash advances. If you accept credit cards, this is probably the way to go for you. Okay, your business must bring in about $100,000 or more per year. As a matter of fact, a lot of the requirements now are only 60 grand a year. If you do $5 grand a month in credit card transactions, you could typically qualify for what's called an MCA loan or a merchant cash advance loan. Minimum FICO score of 500 with a lot of lenders. A lot of other lenders don't even have a minimum FICO score requirement. So this is completely based on, it's not even based on credit. Even if you have really bad credit, you're still able to qualify. And if you've only been in business 6 months, somebody just said, hey, what's a good funding option? Tawanda says, how do I get money if I'm 9 months in? And this works if you're 6 months in. So if you're accepting Visa card, MasterCard, you can look at merchant cash advances. Okay, they don't ask for a lot of documents. They want 3 to 6 months worth of bank statements, 3 to 6 months worth of merchant statements. Okay, and really easy to qualify. They don't ask for collateral. They don't ask for resumes. They don't ask for tax returns. And you could typically get your money in 72 hours. For when you apply to getting funding, you can get your money in 72 hours. So I love merchant cash advances. It's very fast, easy money. You don't need collateral. You don't need good credit in order to get approved. You got to have credit card receipts for your business. You have to basically be processing credit cards. And you could typically be lent as much as 15% of whatever you're processing a year in credit card transactions. So if you're doing $100,000 a year in revenue, well, then you could get $15,000 typically from this program. If you're doing $200,000 a year in revenue, you can typically get double that, $30,000. Now, some other ones along this line is revenue financing. You need about a year in business and $10,000 a month in revenue, so twice as much as for merchant cash advances. But the nice thing is you can use all of the money going to your bank account and get 15% of that much. So instead of just your credit card sales, getting 15% of whatever your credit card sales are, with the cash flow financing, you can get 15% of financing against all of the money, your deposits, your checks. So if you have cash deposits and checks going in, then revenue lending maybe work better. And another thing is that if you're not already, you need to go get set up with PayPal, Square, or Stripe to start accepting customers' payments, because that's some of the easiest money along this line of kind of program for you to be able to qualify for. They don't have credit score requirements. You can get up to $500,000 in funding, 6 months time in business. They'll start giving you money, and they'll give you as much as 30%, almost or double of what you can get with a merchant cash advance or cash flow financing of whatever you do through them a year. So if you're processing $100,000 a year through PayPal, then you could borrow as much as $30,000 with them with no minimum FICO score requirements. And in a lot of cases, they charge you set fees. They don't even charge you interest. So some more options that could work for you along this line. Rahid says, hey, Ty, how do I get a virtual address? I'm currently using my personal. You should go to creditsuite.com/virtual. Creditsuite.com/virtual will take you to Alliance. And Alliance has, from what we've seen, the absolute best program out there when it comes for virtual offices. And Mencho says, thanks, Ty. I'm just trying to get a business credit card to put the payment for your program so it doesn't mess up with my personal credit. That utilization, very smart to do. And another thing you might want to do is ask your current credit card companies to raise your limits. Not just so you could buy our program, although that would be awesome. And don't forget, a lot of people try to save the money to buy our program in full. You might just want to take our payment options. That works for you. But every 6 months, you should call your credit card company and you should always ask them for a limit increase. And I don't think a lot of people do this. But I can tell you, especially on the business side, it's not uncommon to call a company like American Express and get them to double your limit just because you asked. American Express is probably one of the most well-known that when I call them and ask for a limit increase, they say, how much do you want? And I tell them and they raise it. I've had that happen with Bank of America as well, where Bank of America gave me a credit line and I said, I'm going to turn it down. I don't want it. Thank you. And they said, why? I said, because I already have a credit line that's worth well more than that. They said, well, how much do you want the credit line to be? I told them, and they immediately doubled the credit line just because I asked. So when you're dealing with credit cards, make sure every 6 months you call your credit card company and say, look, I'd like to inquire to raise my limit, but here's the catch. Tell them there's no credit check. I don't want you to do an inquiry on my credit report. You can do whatever you need to do, but if you're going to put an inquiry on my credit report, I don't want to do it. And the reason for that is that you could usually use that inquiry to get a new credit card with a whole amount of limit, and it's way more than the small limit increase they may give you and use that same inquiry. So don't burn your inquiries on this, but it's something to keep in mind that everybody should be paying attention to. And Macho says, I actually just got approved for a WEX Sunoco fleet fuel card for $17,000 after watching your fuel card video. Thank you, but I can't use that to pay for your program. Only gas. Yes, that will get you gas. But it's nice because you got $17,000 approval by watching one training that we talked about fleet credit cards. And I think that was last week. So congratulations on that as well. And Mencha says no PG or deposit on that WEX fleet. So got a $17,000 credit card with no personal guarantee or deposit. So if you're watching and you haven't done this and you're wondering how to value the training, that's somebody that watched one training, went around and immediately got a $17,000 credit card. So I appreciate you sharing that. I'm glad to see that you're tuning in. And I'm glad to see that you're actually taking this knowledge, going out there and having results. So equipment financing, really 650 credit scores is what they look for, but you can get approved with mid 500 credit scores. You can get approved as a brand new startup business to be able to finance equipment. Now, why does this matter? Well, I've got a friend was opening a doctor's practice, needed a big piece of equipment. She made the same mistake you may be making. She said, hey, I need a credit line. I said, what do you need a credit line for? She said, I want to do all these things like payroll, and then I want to buy this big piece of equipment. I said, okay, I'm going to get you a credit line. I'm about to show you the program we use to get her the credit line. I said, but let's finance the equipment. And that way you don't use the credit line for the equipment. You still have that whole line available for the stuff you need. And then we use the actual equipment financing for the equipment. So we got her approved for equipment financing. She needed first month's down payment and last month's payment as down payment. We got the next program I'm about to show you, that credit line. We used her credit line to pay her first and last month's down payment for the equipment financing. And now she has this whole credit line, basically almost all the money on it's available, and she has financing against equipment. If you've been in business 1 year or longer, you can lease equipment, which is another funding program for you. And there's also this really little known about program out there called equipment sale leaseback. And with equipment sale leaseback, you could borrow against equipment you already own. So maybe you already own a piece of equipment. Maybe your grandfather does. Maybe your dad does. Maybe a friend has a big backhoe, that's out there that's not been used or not being used. Those type of things can be used to borrow against to get money, and you don't have to have good credit for that either. So equipment financing just kind of opens that door, but there's 3 different types of options where you could borrow against equipment or use equipment to actually get the money that you need. Now, Credit Line Hybrid is the program that we used for her to be able to get the actual credit line that she needed and to put the first and last month's payment down on the equipment financing. This is one of the best programs out there, especially for startup businesses. And here's why. It's called a Credit Line Hybrid for a reason. It's a hybrid between the best parts of a credit card, 0% rates. You don't get 0% rates on credit lines. So you get 0% for 6 to 18 months, but then it's got the best part of credit lines, where you could take the cash out. So you could get up to $150,000 in financing and take the cash out at 0%. That's crazy. And it's really beneficial because as a startup, or when you're trying to get money and use it to grow the business, but you need to wait to get the result, it's perfect. Keeps your payments low while you can use the money, go get your result, marketing campaign, business off the ground, whatever, then use the money as that's produced from the result that you're trying to get to actually start helping you make the payments. Especially at 0% just makes it really practical to be able to do. A lot of the credit lines you get report to the business credit reporting agencies. It's a no doc program, which means you don't really need documents. You don't need bank statements. You don't need tax returns, P&L statements, or balance sheets. So even as a startup business, you can get approved, even if your cash flow has declined through COVID, even if, whatever problems that you don't want to show financials, you can still be able to get this. It's unsecured, which means there's no collateral required whatsoever. You don't have to verify cash flow, so you can get it even as a new business as well. And you're going to provide a personal guarantee at the beginning. But again, the benefit of this is that you're actually getting credit that reports to the business credit reporting agencies, making it easier for you to get non-personal guarantee credit down the road. You can typically get approved for as much as 5 to 8 times the amount of the highest credit limit account you have right now. You can get up to $150,000 typically. You can take the cash out, as we talked about. So a lot of benefits. All you need to qualify for credit line hybrid is you need to have a good personal credit. You need to have a 680 FICO score or higher. Don't have that, don't worry. Half of the clients we help with this program have bad credit, but what they're doing is using a guarantor to help them, a family member, a friend, a potential investor. So again, same scenario. Go to my dad and say, Dad, I need 25 grand to get my business off the ground. I don't want my dad to go sell 25 worth of grand of stocks and give me the cash now he's out that money. But if I say, I just need to use your credit and I'm going to use your credit as a signer to be able to get a program where I can get 150,000 in funding, it reports in my business credit reports. So you'll have some inquiries on your credit initially, which, will not reduce your score significantly. And that will wean off within 6 months, 12 months anyways. And then they report on the business credit reports. So I'm building business credit. You signed as a guarantor. The only way you lose would be if I default. And then, in that case, they would come after you because you're the guarantor, which if I just took the 25 grand in cash from my dad in that scenario, well, he'd be out that money anyways. So again, a way less risk and exposure for him to use this and be a signer to help me instead of actually liquidating cash to help me along the way. And again, he might, in that example, want a little bit of ownership, equity, interest in the business. Your family or your friend, potential investor. A lot of people forget that. There's plenty of people out there that don't want to do the work but have money to invest. A lot of people. That is my network. I can tell you I have a lot of people around me that have a lot of money that they invest into things because they need to move their money around. They need to put it places. Okay. But the thing of it is that they want to get a rate of return. They don't want to do the work. So if they have an opportunity to invest in a new business by signing as a guarantor or coming in and pledging in stocks or whatever it may be, that and getting a rate of return, that's something that a lot of people have an interest in. So keep that in mind when you're looking at programs like Credit Line Hybrid. So who does the Credit Line Hybrid work best for? Well, not everybody, but if you're starting a business, if you're trying to build business credit, if you have good personal credit, it's definitely a really good loan or program to be able to come in and qualify for. Now, Robert says, any net 30 vendors report to DMB more than one? Yeah, a lot of them do. All the WEX fleet cards. So anything with Marathon, Sunoco, all those gas cards report. You're also able to get Uline reports, Crown Office Supplies reports as well, Granger reports as well. So there's a handful of accounts that can help you. Macho says, I do, but I'm dealing with Chase. I'm 6 months in. They only increase limits after a year. Yep, you're right. So if you're with a credit card company, a lot of times they make you be with them a year to ask for limits, but always remember 6 months in to ask for more money. And Mark says the credit challenge is going to be epic. Yes, I'm looking forward to that too. That is our funding challenge. And if you haven't already got in on the funding challenge, go to funding30challenge.com. The word funding, the number 30challenge.com. Funding30challenge.com takes place March 15th. That's Monday. And we're bringing in 30 or 20 different financial experts to talk about over 30 different ways you can get money for your business, about 27 of which as most people know nothing about. We're going to talk about how you can get grants. We're going to bring angel investors in. We're going to bring venture capitalists in. We're going to bring actual lenders, people that help you go even from a startup to public to raise money that way, all kinds of really cool ways. And the challenge is for you to choose the best 3 that work for you. Work for you. 100% free to be part of the challenge. Just go to funding30challenge.com. I'm going to have to drink some water, which I usually don't do on a live stream. And Bacho says, 2 years in business and following all your instructions to get me fundable. Properly listed everywhere, same information everywhere. Want to throw money at you. So bad for helping. I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. It means a lot. Okay, so traditional line of credit. Well, these are similar to traditional term loans where you can get an approval. You can get an approval. It takes a little bit longer, but the terms are really good. It's a revolving financing, though. So it's a line of credit instead of an actual loan. And a lot of different types of these are out there. You can get a lot of them from your bank through those SBA cap lines we talked about. And there's a lot of fintech and alternative lenders that offer these kind of traditional lines of credit as well. So which type works for you? Well, again, it really comes down to this. This is what I found. Cash flow, credit, or collateral. I call it the 3 C's cash acquisition formula. You have to decide what your strength is in your business. And these are the questions you want to ask. Do I have consistent cash flow? Can I pick up my bank statements? Do I have more money going in than going out? Do I have a positive ending bank balance? Do I not have a bunch of non-sufficient funds? Have I been in business 6 months or more? Am I generating $5,000 a month or more in revenue? If the answer to those questions is yes, I manage my bank account responsibly, I've been in business 6 months, I have $5,000 a month in revenue, then you want to focus on cash flow type of products, merchant cash advances, cash flow financing, PayPal, Square, Stripe, etc. If the strength in your business is credit, you have good personal credit, you have somebody around you that does, well, then that's when you want to go the credit line hybrid route, something that's based on good consumer credit like that. If the strength of your business is the 3rd C, which is collateral, well, then stocks, bonds, 401ks, IRAs, equipment, inventory, account receivables, purchase orders, real estate, vehicles, that stuff you want to then pledge as collateral to get collateral-based financing. If you have none of those, you want to build business credit. You also want to look at crowdfunding. You want to look at equity funding. You want to go to the Funding 30 Challenge. We're going to have a lot of options there that will work for you as well as grants. And if you're the opposite of the coin, you have all 3, cash flow, credit, collateral, that's when you want to go to SBA loans. And that's when you want to go to the traditional lines of credit that we just talked about as well. So look, all businesses need funding, but the key is to know what kind of funding works for you. The key to that is knowing your strength. Is it cash flow? Is it credit? Is it collateral? Or there's really kind of a 4th C, which is cosigner. Do you have a cosigner? Do you have cash flow? Do you have credit? Do you have collateral? That's going to determine which of these programs and many more I talked about will work for you. Remember, if you have them all, you need to go the SBA route. If you have none of them, you need to build business credit. So now you have an idea of where to go. And don't forget that if you're really looking to get money, the best thing that you want to do is you want to go to Funding 30 Challenge. And you don't have a lot of time to be able to get in on that. But again, it's 100% free. It's never been done before in our industry. And with the funding30challenge.com or funding30challenge.com, which is where it is, you get in, once you register, go right to the Facebook and join the Facebook group, because the Facebook group's where everything happens. And you'll see that there's a whole community of business owners just like you that is in this to win this for one reason: to get money from the actual system. And we're going to teach you how to hack the system and how to get money. The person that taught me fundability is coming on to actually teach you fundability. The person that taught me business credit building, my mentor in this space, she's the one that's actually going to teach business credit building during this challenge. Over 30 different options to get money we're going to talk about, 27 of which plus most business owners know nothing about. How to get grants. Angel investors will be there. Lenders will be there. Venture capitalists will be there. Okay. We've got people representing crowdfunding platforms who are going to be there as well. We've got people that teach you how to write grant proposals, people that teach you how to take your business public, and on and on and on. We have so many cool ways that you're going to be able to get money from your business. And it all happens at funding30challenge.com. So if you're looking to get money, it happens March 15th to March 19th. It's 100% free to take part. Okay, if you want to stick around, you definitely can. And you can grab the VIP package, and that gives you backstage access, recording, stuff like that. But again, come in and join thousands of others of your peers to be able to get money for your business. And if you got value here, hit like, hit subscribe. Okay, hit the love button, hit the share button. Please, I don't see a lot of you have done that. I think you got some value from this today. So please do that. I can see that in real time. And make sure you follow us. If you go to top right of our page, creditsuite.com, you will be able to access our social channels. We go live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube Tuesday and Thursday at 11 o'clock on Wednesday, all Eastern time. You can follow our podcast, 415,000 downloads on our podcast. So very popular podcast. We have all kinds of experts that come in. The guy I just interviewed, brilliant dude, just bought his book, brilliant dude, was talking about how you can increase profits, double profits without increase of effort. And it's really simple. The stuff he talked about is really actionable to me. A lot more money to your bottom line. That's the kind of stuff that happens on our podcast as well. Don't forget, you are entitled to a free consultation with us. Give us a call, 877-600-2487. On the consult call, we'll get your business credit reports for you for free. They're $249 if you get them on your own. We get them for you at no cost. We give you tips and tactics to build your business credit. Then we'll also do a fundability assessment to see what's wrong with fundability that's got to be fixed. We'll do a funding qualification to talk to you about all the funding you can qualify for. 100% free. It's crazy. Like, if you go online and look, we have hundreds of reviews about our consultations and how much value people get from the consultations. 877-600-2487, info@creditsuite.com, or you can schedule a consult at creditsuite.com/consult. And again, as I wrap up, just don't forget about the Funding 30 Challenge. Get in on this while you can. March 15th to the 19th, and it's over. Done. Okay. First time that anybody's put you with the actual lending sources, the ones behind the curtain, right? They're the wizard behind the curtain that have the money that nobody actually gets you access to. I'm getting you access to them. I'm bringing them to you. You're a borrower that wants money. All these people are coming in with the sole intention of going to a group of people that need money to help them get the money. I mean, that's never been done. So all these people are there for the sole purpose of getting you money. If you want money, go to funding30challenge.com. It's 100% free to register and take part. But make sure on the exit page, you follow the step to join the Facebook group, because the whole thing is going to be taking place in the actual Facebook group. Okay. And Marco says OPM. Yes. Other people's money, baby. I love it. Yes. And Tawanda says 680 score. That's awesome. What bureau do they pull from? They pull from all three is what they'll look at. And you're going to get more credit if they can pull from all three, because some credit card issuers like Chase or Bank of America pull from different ones than what you're going to find with a different Wells Fargo. So you really want to have good FICO scores of 680 or higher across the board. If you don't have that, you might still get credit line hybrid, but you just might not get the full amount of money, because they can't get you max funding if some of those credit card issuers use different bureaus, which they definitely do. Maestro says, I'm only super finicky about my personal inquiries only because I'm trying to stay under Chase 524 rule. And I get Chase. Yeah, in preferred. It makes sense. Look, everybody should be concerned about your inquiries. Every single business owner needs to be concerned about your inquiries. And the reason for that is because there's a lot of programs like Credit Line Hybrid where it will cost you $25,000 in funding just because you have one or two extra inquiries on your credit report. So everybody should be very conscious about your actual inquiries. And Gucci Mane, I love that. Man, more people need to start following you. Thank you. I started my business off your podcast. Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you all for sharing your success stories. I'm here to serve for that purpose, because I love what I do, because I get the luxury of talking to entrepreneurs that really build cool businesses, helping you get money, and then hearing the feedback of, hey, I got the money and here's what I did with it. And I can't tell you how rewarding that is in my life. So thank you for sharing that. And Jess says, so I would sign up for an account, then have my mom sign on it. Yeah, as a guarantor, if you wanted to come in as a guarantor as Credit Line Hybrid, here's how that would work. You would apply, where they would take a look at your credit, soft inquiry, no hard inquiry on your credit report. They would take a look at your mom's credit. Then they would advise you. We recommend doing it in your name, doing it in her name, doing it in both, whatever it may be to get you max funding. Then from that point, if you say, okay, I want to go ahead with that path, then you can tell them to go forward with that path. But it costs you nothing to get a not even a hard inquiry to figure out how much you can qualify for. That's where you want to start. Then they'll give you the recommendations, and then you can decide what works best for you from that point. Island Girl, I love that name. All of this is more than a notion. I'm ready to just purchase a company through Jared Krause. He and Ty did a podcast a few weeks ago. Yeah, he's good, smart guy. And if you're looking to purchase a company, then again, 7A financing is really good. SBA 7A financing. But here's how you buy a business. I teach a lot of people how to buy business. If anybody knows Roland Frazier and his Epic Challenge, and he's one of the biggest in the country that teaches people how to buy businesses. I do all the funding for everybody in his group, right? And I'll tell you how it's done. Here's how it works. You get an SBA 7A loan. So you want to find a business that has assets and that has a decent business credit profile. You should pull a business credit profile of the business buying. Then you get a 7A loan for up to 85% of the actual purchase price of the business. Then you either have a seller carryback for part or all of the difference, or you use another one of these type of financing that we talked about to be able to actually get the other part of the financing. And if you do that right, you can really get in and buy a business with no money down. I know I help business owners do it all the time. And I just gave you the actual formula to do it. An SBA loan for up to 85%. The difference, the other 15% or plus the SBA won't cover, you use a seller carryback, the seller financing, or you use the other assets in the business to be able to qualify to cover that other 15%. So a cool way for you to be able to do that. Business credit help build Walmart. Yeah, King, life-changing value, yes. And he's talking about something we discussed yesterday, where 80% of the money that goes into Walmart is business credit. So actually Walmart buys everything they put on their shelves using business credit. Then they use your money to pay off those credit lines. That's how they become the #1 retailer. So as he said, as we've discussed OPM, that's how they become the #1 retailer in the world. Just became a partner with Credit Suite. Winston, thanks, man, from LinkedIn. I'm really excited to join our family and have an opportunity to help other people with this knowledge and get business credit financing. So welcome to the family. And Road Dogs Dirt Relief, you're back, Road Dogs Dirt Relief. I love your name. It's so cool on YouTube. How do you find an old EIN number from a business that you owned many years ago? Well, I would look with Secretary of State. Everybody's different. All states are different. But Florida, we will show you the EIN number for your business. So if you go to the Secretary of State for that business, you should be able to pull that record up there. IRS has it too, but I don't know how to go back to the IRS and get an old one. So I would go with the Secretary of State. That's going to be your best bet. And Winston says, I have a webinar on Sunday with over 100 signups. Congratulations to offer business credit financing and to talk more about it. If we can help you along the way, get with the support team, the actual partner success team, we will help you. Road Dogs Dirt Relief says, love your content, brother. Keep up the good work. I believe in the information that you deliver best on YouTube. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Gucci Meme says, I'll be in the 30-day challenge. All your info has been gold. Awesome. You're going to love this challenge. I'm so excited because for the first time ever, I get out of the camera. I'm not the guy that teaches you this stuff. I have the actual people that offer these funding programs on there to teach you about stuff that they don't even have rolled out yet. People don't even know about. Like the actual funders are going to be there, which is just not something that's ever been done. So it's really cool. So I hope everybody joins this Funding 30 challenge. It's going to be worth it. It costs you no money to do it, but tremendous amounts of value. And we're only going live every Monday through Friday about from 1 o'clock Eastern time to about 3 or 3:30, and all that's packed full of people that are speaking to teach you how to get money. And Facebook, a user from Facebook says, Best Buy asked for a credit profile for my business. I sent them over my DMBs, and they stated that my report doesn't support the amount requested. Now they're asking for financial documents. What should I do? Well, so what you're describing is a problem where you didn't have enough trade lines on your business credit report to get to Best Buy. You should have had more accounts than you needed to apply, and so now Best Buy wants financials. So it's up to you. What they're telling you is that you don't have enough accounts in your business credit report, and you haven't recently used enough money on the accounts that you're getting to be able to qualify for Best Buy. So if your financials are good, then you want to go ahead and supply them to them and show them that you're generating enough revenue and profit to qualify. If they're not, then you want to wait, apply for other accounts, put more accounts on your business credit reports, and circle back to them to actually apply. And Road Dogs Dirt Relief says, I'll be calling you today around 3 o'clock. Awesome. We'll look forward to talking to you. And Macho says, we love you, Ty. My plan is to get your partnership program. So remember me. We'll be talking at some point. I already offer credit repair. Their credit service on the personal credit side. I've been subscribed. Looking forward to that as well. Mark, I was listening to his bio book. What a story. How Walmart was formed. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm the same. I listened to Sam Walton's book, and Sam talks about multiple times about Dun & Bradstreet in that book. And I said this yesterday, but one of the cool ones was when the guy went in the back room and Sam had mentioned, hey, I know he's going back there to pull my Dun & Bradstreet credit report. And the guy came out and said, yeah, you can qualify. Because, he was selling himself as, some guy with a discount, a business in Bentonville, which I loved about Sam Walton as well. He, like me, kept it as low key as you possibly can so people underestimate you, because that's the position you like to be in. I love that book. And Macho, I mainly do real estate. So looking for funding options. We'll talk about a lot of that funding for the real estate industry. How do I find out about the 30-day challenge? You go to funding30challenge.com. Here it is. If you look at this word and you go to funding30challenge.com, that will take you to this page. And this page has everything you need to know about the Funding 30 Challenge. You want to know who these people are that I'm talking about are going to be speaking. You can see a lot of them are going to be right here. And you can see their bios, pictures, everybody like that on there as well. It's going to be pretty cool. And Macho says, signing up for the Funding 30 Challenge now. Awesome. Sit in the credit line hybrid pre-call. Great. Just again, being scary about personal inquiry. Don't mind you there. But again, no hard inquiry to find out how much you qualify for credit line hybrid. And Facebook user says, what are some tier 2 vendors should I check out? They actually report. Well, tier 1 would mean that you have a handful of initial accounts that do report. And again, just to show you, I'll actually show you some insider information that most people don't get to see, which I'll actually show you our back end. So I'll show you some tier 2 right now so you can actually see what's possible. Remember, tier 1 vendors are places like we talked about, which are Granger, Uline, Crown Office Supplies, starter vendor accounts that you use to start building initial business credit. Then from that point, once you get there, you can move on to all kinds of retail credit. This is a system we call our Business Finance Suite. This is what everybody's buying from us that you're hearing today. This is how our clients build business credit. And as you can see, when it comes to tier 2 vendors, there's a lot of them out there. So here's just some of them, and I'll go through so you can kind of get an idea, depending on what kind of money you're actually looking for. GetGo Maverick, Gulf Fleet, Fleet Pride, U-Haul, Zorro, Luke Oil, Office Depot's in there, Meyer. So, are you looking for office supplies? You're looking for, grocery store, right? So ExxonMobil, Home Depot's in there, Valvoline, Lowe's, Staples, Amazon. So once you get a handful of accounts in your business credit reports, these are the kind of sources that you're able to get. And as you can see, our system makes it really simple because we gray out what you can't qualify for. We tell you everything you need to know to actually come in and get approved. So you actually can see what bureaus the account reports to, what kind of accounts they offer, the actual underwriting guidelines per their underwriters, the description of the account, the secret links to actually apply. All of that is available. So it just makes it really easy to be able to do so. And we've got a really cool special going on during our Funding 30 Challenge as well. Okay, and somebody else says, I have Uline, Quill, Granger, Sam's Club, so that helps you get the next round of accounts. Okay, and how much does that program cost? You can go to our website. It is $29.97, so it's about $3,000, and our payments are on there as well. You can get payments under $700 a month, and we will work with you on custom payments as well. Go to creditsuite.com, click on pricing, and that'll get you that information. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I will be back tomorrow for one more training, which is Thursday, and then Monday, March 15th, 2021, we are starting the Funding 30 Challenge, and we are locking the thing down. So make sure you get in there because we will literally have thousands of your peers. Guys, it's going to be fun. It's just going to be fun. I'll show you right now what this is actually looking like right now on Facebook, just so you can see the engagement and what's happening right now. And you can see all the cool people that are coming into the group. As you can see, everybody's coming in. Everybody's kind of introducing themselves. So we're getting to know each other. We're all talking about each other's businesses. And we're all talking about what we're looking for. We're all going to share our experiences together. This is a whole community we've put together for one purpose: get money for our businesses. We put the whole community together of people that want money, and then we're bringing in all the funding sources to get you money. And this is what's happening right now in our Funding 30 Challenge. So it is completely, everybody's engaging. We're going to give away cash giveaways. We're going to give away about $500 per day during the challenge for people that are engaging and commenting and doing the homework that we're going to have every night, which, don't worry, it's not the homework. I didn't like homework in school. I'm sure you didn't either. So this is what's happening right now in the Funding 30 Challenge. So if you want to be part of the Funding 30 Challenge, make sure you go to funding30challenge.com, join the challenge, and that takes place March 15th through the March 19th. It will be taking place live, and it will be taking place in that Facebook group. So make sure you click to go through the Facebook group. All right. Thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget to call us for your free consultation. And I look forward to seeing you in the Funding 30 Challenge March 15th. Go to funding30challenge.com to take part. See you on our next live training.